So recently, a new potential student reached out to me to talk about potentially working together with me. He said that he had been frustrated with his dating life and he really wanted to make a massive change in this area. And this guy was in late 30s, so I asked him, so what have you been doing for the past few years to actually improve in this area? And what he told me was very surprising. So what he said is that almost for the last 15 years, he actually hadn't done anything and he hadn't dated anyone. And I was a bit confused. What do you mean? What did you do for the last 15 years? And he said, yeah, I was just working, traveling, working out, playing video games, riding my motorcycle, and honestly, I didn't feel like I needed anyone. I had a few relationships back in my 20s, but then I started working and doing all these things, and the need slowly went down. I didn't really have the urge or the necessity, so I didn't really bother about it. And then I said, okay, well, what changed? And he said, well, 1 year ago, I randomly met this girl and we kicked it off very well and we were together for 6 months and it was truly amazing, but then she broke up with me and then everything collapsed. I tried to go back to my motorcycles, but it was just too lonely. I wanted to have someone on my motorcycle. I went back to my hikes and my workout routine, but again, I was miserable and lonely because I wanted to have someone to share these experiences. And ultimately, he told me that meeting this girl was so good that it reignited his need for women and for having a connection. And he said that now he couldn't go back to his old life because he knew how amazing and how beautiful this romantic connection can be, and he wanted to experience it again. So that's why he reached out to me, because he wanted to take a proactive stance in this. So consequently, he signed up to work with me, and now we're working together to improve his dating life. But the reason I'm telling you this story is that I hear this story and the variations of this story very, very often. You have a guy who hasn't been dating for many years, and he has convinced himself that he doesn't need this. He's convinced himself that he's okay being alone, that he doesn't need to have romantic and sexual experiences, that he doesn't need to have a connection. He's fine being alone, and then something happens, some sort of event. Either he has a relationship or he witnesses someone else having a relationship. Something gets triggered and all those needs that have been suppressed, they come out and they come out strong. And once those needs come out, you cannot shove them back in. You try to shove them back in, but they keep coming back. And then you face a very miserable reality because you're slowly realizing that you've been denying your true romantic needs for a very long time. And that makes you very sad because you know you've wasted tons of time by not approaching this and by not attacking this actively. And this is why I'm telling you this story, is that you might be this guy. You might be right now thinking to yourself, oh, well, everything is fine. I'm alone, but that's totally okay. I have my job, I have my workout, I have my hobbies, I even have my friends. But most importantly, you're just deluding yourself. You're shoving down that need and you're trying to pretend it doesn't exist. But at some point it will come out. Sooner or later it will come out. And if you don't address it, then once it comes out, it might be too late for you to start working on this. Or you might have wasted 14 years like this guy. This guy is in his late 30s. And his last relationship before this 6 months relationship, it was when he was in his early 20s. So imagine all this time you haven't done anything in this area. All these amazing connections, adventures he could have had in this time, he simply didn't do it. And while he thought it was because he didn't need it, the reality was that he had convinced himself that he didn't need it. It's like that thing you don't want to look at and then you shove it in your basement and you pretend it doesn't exist, but it does exist. And at some point, it's going to come out. So my question to you right now is, do you want to keep pretending that your romantic and sexual needs don't exist and you want to face the risk at 5 years or 10 years down the line, arriving to that point like this guy, and then having this realization that you wasted all this time? Or you want to be honest with yourself and you want to actually solve the problem? Because the thing is that a lot of guys have convinced themselves that they don't need anything romantically, and it's because they believe they cannot obtain that. They believe that they don't deserve it. Obviously, if you think that you cannot get something, or you think that it's too hard for you to get it, you're gonna tell yourself, oh, well, I just don't need it. Because it's much easier to live life like that than saying, oh, I really want this thing, but I can never get it. But the thing is that you can get this thing. You can get all these romantic connections. You can have all these adventures. You can have that dream girlfriend. You can have that dream dating life. You just have to put in the work. You have to put in the right amount of work. You have to follow the right strategy. You have to have the good support system. But ultimately, you can improve in this. This is why my channel exists, is to show you that you can do this. And look at all the proof that I have on my channel, both when I talk to women and also my students. This is why I also promote these student stories, to show you that this is truly possible. guys from all over the world, shy technical nerds, which I mean in the most respectful way, but guys who used to think that I would never be able to go out and talk to women in real life. And now they're going out there, meeting people in real life and going on dates. Just last week, one of the guys in our mentorship never had any date in his life, and who was 26 years old. He just went on his first date ever. And that first date was from real life cold approach. How crazy is that? And when he went on this date, he couldn't believe it. He hadn't dated for 26 years, and now he's finally dating by approaching women in real life. So you can do this. You just have to face your fears. You have to drop the mask, and you have to be honest with yourself. But as soon as you do that, life becomes much easier, because then you can take action in this area and you can go for what you truly want. You don't have to pretend anymore. So if you're tired of pretending, if you're tired of making excuses, if you're tired of shoving your dating life back in that basement and pretending it doesn't exist, and you want to start taking real action, and if you'd like my personal help on guiding you on this journey, telling you exactly what to do, being on the phone while you're talking to women in real life, giving you step-by-step instructions and giving you feedback on the conversations, and also having the support of other like-minded guys, check out the first link in the description. You can read more about my one-on-one mentorship in the first link below. And to offer you even extra incentive, if you book a call with me to speak about the mentorship, no matter if we end up working together or not, I'll give you access to my practical principles document, which is a document containing different videos, scripts, and even texting breakdowns that I only offer for my private students. I'll give this to you completely for free, just as a way to reward you for taking some form of action. Check the first link down below, and I'll see you there.